encourage you, that will give you more confidence. And so it doesn't mean I'm killing people, but it actually fitted the job that I was doing there. I'm 16, born in a family of 12, 5 boys and 7 girls. Now we are 3. The rest have since been promoted. So, joined the struggle when I was 18, brought up and was promoted, grew through the ranks and became the secretary for the women's wing during the struggle. In 1980, became the first youngest minister of the government of Zimbabwe and the country's first woman minister. So since then, I was promoted to different ministries and became acting minister of defense at one point, became acting minister of agriculture when Zimbabwe was the breadbasket of Africa. And in 2004 was elected the first woman vice president for 14 months. So after that, I then decided to start my own party because I was not happy the way I was chucked out of ZANU-PF, the party which I fought, during the struggle. So that's where I am. I'm the president of National People's Party, the party that is going to stand against ZANU-PF next year. So it's the party, the only opposition party that has managed to win the hearts of freedom fighters because they have not found home in ZANU-PF, their party, which they fought in during the struggle. So the National People's Party is the party that is now welcoming these freedom fighters because we have agreed that what we fought for, what the Zimbabwean population fought for, is not what they are getting now. And we want to free the people of Zimbabwe. We want to join the Commonwealth because Mugabe decided to take Zimbabwe out of the Commonwealth, and that's not us. It was a one-man stand. So, in brief, that's Joyce Teorerova Mujuru. Please, I'm happy to meet all of you. I love you all. Thank you very much.
We love you too. Thank you. Now I welcome Tessie Ojeda.
So it's lovely to be here. Thank you so much, Pauline, for asking me along. And it's fantastic to see you all here this evening, everyone looking so gorgeous. I wish I got the dress code. I probably would have thought about my dress code a bit better. But it's great to be here. Interestingly, a few days ago, it's interesting that you mentioned glass ceiling when you were talking. A few days ago, I bumped into someone who said to me, "Oh, Tessie, I've been reading about you and all that, How did you get around the glass ceiling?" I thought, get around it. But I'll tell you what I said to this person in a minute. But it led me to begin to reflect on, as a female, and as a female of color, how the odds are sometimes stacked against us. But let me introduce myself a little bit. Perhaps that will give you an idea why this person asked me this question. So, as Pauline said, I'm the Chief Executive of the Diana Award, the only charity across the whole world that continues the legacy of Princess Diana. But aside from that, I also sit on a number of boards. So I sit on the UK Executive Council for Security Around Children. I sit on the Royal Task Force for Cyberbullying. I sit on a number of advisory panels across governments as well as being a trustee of a number of charities. I'm also a wife of 20 years to my amazing husband, and I've got 2 teenage kids, and I know I do not look it, but I do. So having said that, I can understand why, I guess that's the context. And over the past 17 years, just to qualify, over the past 17 years, a lot of my work has been around the British establishment, so working with the Prime Minister's office as well as obviously the royal family. But it made me think why this person asked me this question, and it began to reflect on what are the factors, in some sense, that perhaps this person thought that I had, if I may use the word, gone through this glass ceiling. And as I was reflecting, I drilled it down to about 3 major factors in my life. Firstly, the importance of positive role models. My parents, you know, as it's interesting, I thought I had a big family, but I think my mother really failed compared to having 12 children. See, my mother had 6, and I'm the only female in my family. So growing up with boys, I realized that I never quite grew up as a girly girl. I just grew up as a child. And I think that had such incredible role in defining my identity, because I think until I was probably a teenager, I never quite realized I was a girl, because I just did what the boys did. You know, you played football, you did whatever, you jumped off cliffs, you just did whatever. But I think that helped me not really see myself as, oh, you have to be gentle, you have to wait your turn. You just did it, you just got on with it, you just did what you had to do. And of course, if you had, I guess with my immediate younger brother, he hated the fact that his older was a girl. He was the only one that had a girl. When everyone showed up about my big brother, he talked about, and I have a sister. And I think it put a lot of competition. It made me a bit more competitive to show him that he was lucky to have a girl as a sister. You know, the other factor, as I kept thinking, I think about the role of the support network I have in my life. People like my husband, who about 18 years ago, when I said to him, leaving my job in the private sector, I said to him, I wanted to join the charity sector. And I remember he said, and it was a significant pay cut, and I remember him saying, well, if that's what you really want to do, just go for it. You see, my youngest at the time was barely 1 year old, and I had 2 kids, barely under 3. He's been an incredible support. Times when I have to travel, like I practically travel every week, and sometimes he just goes, just do what you need to do what you need to do. And I realized without incredible support in your life, sometimes life gets hard. You know, someone was said to me that a good support network allows you helps your mental well-being. It gives you peace of mind. And look, I define my support network as my husband, but I've got incredible friends who play such a great role in my life. You know, the third factor I want to just quickly talk on is about the ability to take risks, the ability to jump, even though you're so scared you might fall. You know, I realized even taking the jump from the private sector to the third sector at the time, 18 years ago, I remember telling my dad, I'm going to work, I'm leaving IBM and I'm moving to the charity sector. He goes, you're going to work in a charity shop? And I said, no, Dad, it's not a charity shop, it's fine. You know, that was a huge leap of faith. That was, you know, I always say to myself, taking risk is not the absence of fear, it's jumping in spite of fear. And you know, when I put these 3 things together, I smile, because I think for me, you know, I'm going to tell you a very quick story. In the summer of last year, my oldest child went to university. And she had always wonders that when she goes to university, she's going to go really, really far, as every 18-year-old says. And really, she went about 3 hours away from us. And I remember the weekend we went to drop her at uni. On our way back, I think we were all so emotional in the car, nobody could speak. And I turned around to my son, who's 17, who means he's going next year, turned around to him and I said, you are going to stay in London. You're not going far, because I cannot afford to have 2 kids that are so far. And he goes, remember what you always say, Mom? Don't get too comfortable with comfort. Be ready to be discomforted. He goes, Mom, it's time to be discomforted. You've been too comfortable with 2 of us. So when I remember this person who said to me a few days ago, how did you get around the glass ceiling? I actually said, darling, I smashed it. I didn't get around it.
Thank you very much. And now we have Tara Howard, the founder of Venus Homes.
Well, first of all, I'd like to say I am humbled to be sitting here with you ladies. Just amazing. And secondly, I'm going to say I'm not going to speak for long because I know you're all probably very hungry. So I will make it quick. I was the youngest with 3 older brothers, and I unfortunately didn't see myself as one of the boys. I was very much the stupid little girl. So that happened to me. I left school, I didn't work at school. It was a good excuse not to work, actually. I was too stupid. And it wasn't until my parents actually wanted to get me away from a boyfriend they didn't like, and they happened to have enough money to send me to pilot school. Who's going to argue with that? Lots of boys again. But I actually decided to work. And yes, I did. I remember one of the tutors, he was